Hi guys, I'm here today to do part 1 of my July book haul. Now firstly, I know it's bad that there's 2 parts to it. Usually I keep my monthly book hauls to one part unless it's my birthday or Christmas, but July's a really big release month and I got excited and I got carried away. So half of these books I bought and half I requested, and then it will probably be a similar ratio in the next part of this video. I also just want to say I haven't been uploading a lot this month, and that's because I try and only do videos when I feel like I have something to say, and I haven't read loads this month. I've read an average amount, but I'm trying to do sort of triple reviews, and so it means that I have to have read quite a lot to be able to do review videos. So it's not that I'm not reading, it's just that I don't want to do sort of random videos just for the sake of doing them. I want to actually be making the video. So there will be some reviews coming soon. Apologies if I've been a bit sort of sporadic the last few weeks, but it is how it is. So anyway, the books. I've got 2 non-fiction books to talk about first, and I'm really excited by both of these. It's a weird word to use for these books, but it is what it is. So the first one is a recent release, and that is Why I'm No Longer Talking to White People About Race by Rennie Edo-Lodge. This was published by Bloomsbury and I requested this one. Now I'm really interested in this book. Firstly, I think the way it's been published is perfect. I think the way they put this cover together was excellent. Now Rennie Edo-Lodge is a journalist. She's British, and she wrote a post in 2014 on her blog entitled Why I'm No Longer Talking to White People About Race, and it went viral and loads of people, white people, kicked off about it, and it became a really big thing. So she decided to write a collection of essays, one of them being that original essay, about what she means by that, and you know, her experiences with talking to white people about race in Britain. So I listened to her on the Guardian book podcast a couple of weeks ago, and she was incredibly articulate, very intelligent, and really put her views across really well, and I just really liked her voice as well, and yeah, really wanted to read this. So there's that, and this came out quite recently, so there's that. And then this one came out I think a few months ago, and I missed it and then stumbled across it quite recently, and so picked it up. And this is The Blood of Emmett Till by Timothy B. Tyson. So let me make sure I get this right. In 1955 this event happened. This is a true crime book about Emmett Till. Now he was a 14-year-old in, I believe, yeah, Chicago, who got lynched. Now supposedly he went into a convenience store and he either whistled or said something flirtatious to a white woman, and she then told members of her family and friends about this, and those male members went and pulled the boy out of his home in the middle of the night and lynched him. And I don't believe anyone was prosecuted. It was a really horrendous, really horrendous crime, and it's something that went on for many years later. A group of, you know, civil rights movement became known as the Emmett Till generation, and years and years later the lady who accused him, Carolyn Bryant, agreed to an interview, and this book is, you know, the history of that event and the people who are still alive now who are involved in it and their perception of it. So I think it's going to be really devastating and a really difficult read, but this is something that I'm really interested in and trying to learn more about. So there's that. Then I have a few more, I guess, sort of easy reads compared to the first 2 I've mentioned. So this first one I've read, and that's When God Was a Rabbit by Sarah Winman. So I read Tin Man by Sarah Winman last month, the month before, and I really loved it, so I wanted to go back and read her previous books. She has 2 previous books. This is her debut, and this has quite similar themes to Tin Man, but a lot more themes. So this follows a young girl from the moment of her conception. Part of the novel is her childhood, and then the second half of the novel is her from her late 20s onwards for a few years, and it focuses on her relationship with her brother, with a very close friend she had, and with her parents, and lots of people who move in and out of their lives. There's lots of themes going on in this, so I'm going to discuss it more in a review video coming up soon. But yeah, I just wanted to pick this up because I really enjoyed her writing style, and I felt like she's going to become one of those authors who's sort of like a nice cosy page turner when I'm not really sure what I feel like reading, so I got that one. And then I also picked up Days of Grace by Catherine Hall because I read and really enjoyed The Proof of Love by her. Now I think this one's going to be even more bleak than The Proof of Love, but I'm more intrigued by the premise than I was with A Proof of Love, and I still really enjoyed that one. So this is set in rural Kent during World War II, and it's about a young girl called Nora who is evacuated to live with a family there, and she becomes sort of infatuated with the daughter Grace. And then there's some sort of secret that it says will eat away at Nora for the rest of her life, a secret that she can only begin to tell when there's nothing left to lose. And I started reading this book when it came through the post, and it actually starts many years later when Nora's an adult. So I believe this is about a lesbian love affair and the repercussions of that. I'm very much excited about it, and yeah, but all the reviews I saw said it was really depressing, so we shall see. Then, this is a new release that I just treated myself to because it was fairly well priced, and it sounded like a nice sort of easy-ish read, and I listened to the sample on Audible and really liked the sample, but decided that I'm not a massive fan of listening to fiction on audio unless it's fantasy, so I decided to pick it up instead. So this is Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine by Gail Honeyman, and I quite like this cover and how sort of stark it is. So this is about, I think, a lady, I think she may be in her 30s, and she basically just has the same routine. She wears the same clothes every day, has the same lunch, takes the same route to work, drinks herself into a stupor every single weekend, and just lives this really controlled, sheltered life. And it's about these people that come into her life and sort of uproot her from this strict regime she has. And I just really liked her voice in the Audible sample, so I thought I'd give it a go. I've not really heard any reviews on it, but I thought, you know, it was only about £6, so I thought it was worth the risk, so there's that one. Then we have a couple of short story collections that I requested. Now this next one comes out, let me just check, 10th of August, so it's not quite out yet, and it's called Sour Heart by Jenny Zhang. Now this is a very startling advanced reader's copy. This is what the final copy will look like, so it's very, very beautiful, but I do also love how startlingly pink this is. So Lena Dunham has a new imprint. Lena Dunham is the lady who wrote and starred in Girls, and she has a new fiction imprint, and where she chooses books by and about women to publish, which is quite exciting. And so there's a letter from her on the back as to why she chose this book. So let me try and read you a little bit from what it says here. It says, centred on a community of immigrants who have traded their endangered lives as artists in China and Taiwan for the constant struggle of life at the poverty line in 1990s New York City, the 7 stories that make up Sour Heart examine the many ways that family and history can weigh us down but also lift us up. And I read the first couple of pages of this, and if you don't like run-on sentences, you perhaps will not like this collection. Now, it could be that it was just that first story, but flicking through, there's not a lot of full stops. So yeah, there's some pages where half the page is one sentence. Now I really like it. I felt like in that first sentence she really captured this family immediately, and I think her writing style's quite snarky, and within those sort of 2 pages she's discussing the fact that the family have to share this communal toilet and they're always constipated, so I think it's going to be quite upfront, but I'm hoping to really, really like this and find a new sort of debut author to follow, so there's that one. Then I also requested this. This is a relatively new release. This is Madame Zero by Sarah Hall, and this is published by Faber. They've published all of her books in really lovely editions. Now I have the Wolf Border. I've had it for about 2 years and I still haven't read it, which is ridiculous because I love the sound of it and I feel like she could be a favourite author. And then I heard about this new collection and I was like, I also need that. And look at that cover, it's just amazing. And it says, Hall's stories are vixen-shaped, urban and rural, feral and natural, female and stinky, beautiful and tough. Like Mrs. Fox herself, they slide quietly into view and stare at us with their citrine eyes, exceptional, compelling, frightening and authentic. So I'm really excited about this, and yeah, I'm just annoyed with myself that I haven't read more of her books. So I now have 3 because I also requested this one. This is one of her older works. It's called The Carhulan Army. I love the covers they have for these books. Now this sounds quite similar to like The Handmaid's Tale, which I haven't read in maybe over a decade I think, so I can't really comment on my enjoyment of it because it's been so long, but I remember enjoying it at the time. But this sounds like more my sort of thing, pretty much because of the environmental factor. So It's set in the Lake District, I believe, and it's about a group of women who are of childbearing age, and they're fitted with these contraceptive devices, but it's about a group of these women who decide to fight back, and they join a sort of a rebellion, and it's about one woman who's in the rebellion and sort of her considering how far she's willing to go in terms of violence to fight this regime. And it's very, very short, and it sounds right up my street, and who doesn't love that cover? So there's that. Then this book is one, so I did a video in December in which I named quite a few authors who I wanted to try and get to this year who I hadn't read before. I'm failing miserably at that. But one of the authors I mentioned was Barbara Kingsolver. And I just really meant to pick up some of her books and hadn't got around to it, and then I saw this beautiful anniversary edition by Faber. So I think it turns 18 this year, so they've put it in this gorgeous edition. So Barbara Kingsolver's books, the reason I always want to pick them up is because they're sort of about wildlife conservation and the ecosystem, and usually, you know, have lots of characters entwined in this big story about the environment. And this is told by the wife and 4 daughters of Nathan Price, a fierce evangelical Baptist who takes his family and mission to the Belgian Congo in 1959. So sounds pretty good. It's quite a chunker, it's over 600 pages, so it's quite a bit bigger than a lot of the books I tend to read. But I do really enjoy long books, and I don't pick them up as often as I should, so there's that. And Faber were kind enough to send me a second copy of this to do a giveaway, so I'll be talking about that hopefully in another video pretty soon, so keep your eyes peeled for a beautiful copy of this book. And then these next 2 are both quite weird. So this is Fish in Exile by V. Noel. Sorry, I probably butchered that. And this came out maybe last year or the year before from Coffee House Press, and they're one of my favourite indie publishers. And I've just meaning to pick it up, and then I saw it for a really, really good price, and I just thought I might as well just add it to the order. So it says, how do you grieve the death of a child? With fish tanks and jellyfish burials, Persephone's pomegranate seeds, and affairs with the neighbours. Fish in Exile spins unimaginable loss through classical and magical tumblers, distorting our view so that we can see the contours of a parent's grief all the more clearly. So I think it's quite oddly written, with lots of different writing styles throughout it. I don't really know what to expect, but I'm very intrigued, so there's that weird one. And this next one is incredibly wacky, and I was kindly sent this by the publishers from the US. This is Made for Love by Alyssa Nutting. Now I've read her short story collection Unclean Jobs for Women and Girls, which I really, really enjoyed. If you like bizarro fiction, I mean, it is magical realism, but I'd say it's a subset of magical realism, which is that sort of bizarro fiction where it's just really weird stuff that is also a bit grotesque and makes you feel a little bit uncomfortable, which I really enjoy. So I'd really recommend that collection. And I do have her first novel, Tamper, which I've yet to read, but I just love the sound of this, and who wouldn't want this book? Look at how beautiful it is. It's so like 90s, I just love it. So this is set in a world where there's a man who owns a company which is like akin to Google, but it has a different name in this book. And technology has just gone absolutely crazy, so I guess it's set a little bit in the future, and we're following the wife of this sort of tech mogul, and she's desperately unhappy, and he says, hey, why don't we have these implants fitted in our head so we know each other's thoughts like all the time? And she realises, shit, this has gone way too far, I need to get away from this crazy person. So she escapes this sort of big estate they live on, and the only place she knows to run to is her father. Now her father, I believe, lives on like an old retirement trailer park, but he is sort of losing it a little bit, and he's become incredibly lonely, so he's bought a sort of life-size, really believable sex doll. And it's about our main character, you know, living with her father in these conditions whilst her crazy husband tries to pursue her. So it sounds very bizarre. I'm expecting very weird things to happen, but just really excited to get to this one. So that's the first set of books I have to show you in July. I'll probably have another set to show you in like a week or so. Do let me know if you've read any of these books, what you think of them. I'd love to know if you've read a lot of Sarah Hall's books or Barbara Kingsolver's, and if you've picked up any of the more recent releases, then, you know, do let me know what you think of them. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video, which will probably be a sort of joint review. Bye!